Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another awesome interview. First and foremost, let me thank all of you who registered for this virtual event. I love doing these virtual summits because you get access to an amazing network of phenomenal women that live all over the world. So, the biggest thing, guys, after you watch these interviews, connect with these ladies right away, even before their presentation streams live. And also, let me know which interview that you love the most, which interview that you are looking out for. But I have a heavy hitter on with me today. Okay. I've been following this young lady for a long time. I don't want to age myself, but way back in the Periscope days, right? Her and I used to be in a joint course together and things like that. And she's such a phenomenal woman. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my girl, Tonya. Okay. So Tonya, how are you? Let me unmute you, sis. I'm gonna mute you right now.
Hey,
Yes. Thank you so much for joining. So just introduce yourself. This is your first time being on one of my virtual summits. So go ahead, sis.
well, thank you for so much for having me. This is, I've been following you, like you said, for a minute. So I'm amazed at your consistency and just your desire to see women win. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you
So
so much.
you're so welcome. So I am Tonya Bryant. I am a life coach. And so I support women in their journey to overcome fear and procrastination.
Hmm.
The name of my business is Abundant Life Living. And so
Yes.
I believe that we have to live life abundantly. So
Yes. I remember, like, as I was writing up your questions, so just so you guys know who watching in the audience right now, let us know where you're watching from. And I made every questions, if you guys notice, very unique, to the guest. And when I came across sitting down and typing up your question, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, a long time ago, you did a Periscope live and you talked about how to live abundantly. And
mm,
I took a lot of cues to that. And one word that stood out for me was intentional. You said
mm.
a word intentional, how you have to be intentional about wanting an abundant life. Sometimes we think as women that we're not fortunate because of our past, because of our upbringing, because of the mistakes that we've made in the past. And you mentioned that whole being intentional, and being intentional is not something that's easy. Living
Mhm.
abundant life is not something that's easy, which is, you're going to go more depth into that during your presentation soon. But my first question for you is, what are some of the advice or tips that you would give women who feel that they have no strengths or talents? Because that was actually mentioned in your bio, that you help women
Mhm.
step into their strengths and talents and actually
Yes.
use them. But what if you're someone out there watching, you feel like, girl, I ain't much. I'm just a small time girl from the South or up north or wherever, and they have not discovered yet their strengths and talents. Go ahead, sis.
Excellent question. And so, first of all, everybody has this innate ability within you, right?
That's right.
Everybody has these strengths. And so if you are sitting out there and you're thinking, okay, that's all good, but I have no idea. Well, first of all, I'm going to encourage you to go get a coach. Okay. To go get a coach to help, to go invest in yourself and find someone that can help you really begin to unearth those abilities, because trust and believe you have strengths, you have talents. See, a strength or a talent is something that's innate in you, and many of you are walking around and you're saying, I don't have any strengths and I don't have any abilities. And that is absolutely not true. You do. It's just that it's been dormant. And so you need someone to really help you begin to unearth that, to begin to unearth that potential that's laying inside of you dormant. Another thing that I would really recommend, and one of the things that helped me with my coaching, is I have there's assessments that you can take, right? So if you're sitting here thinking, okay, yeah, okay, that's great, you can take assessments and they can help you begin to unearth what are those things that you're good at. One of the things that I do with my clients, any of my clients that purchase a coaching package with me, the first thing we do is I send you a strengths assessment. And so these strengths identify your 5 key strengths. And then from there, once you take that assessment, then I go in and then we talk about it and we begin to coach around it and we begin to really unearth. And when I took my assessment like a billion years ago, it was like, I took this test and I was like, how are these people going to tell me, what I'm good at? And oh my God, I tell you, the assessments, the results that they came up with were spot on. One of them said that I'm connectedness. And so I really work in connecting and having relationships, and I care deeply about people. So I'm telling you, first get yourself a coach, and then get take an assessment to really begin to discover who you are and what you're good at.
I love that. I love that. Assessments are very important. It makes sure that there is no gaps or holes in sometimes your thought process or how you feel or think. And it's like taking an audit for yourself. And I think all those are important.
Absolutely.
And just like you said, every woman out there has gifts, has talents, has strengths, and all those things, which leads me into my next question for you, which is throughout the many years that I have, looked at and enjoyed your content, how has your company, how has it leveled up on the quality of your services? Because there's so many people who is in the similar industry as yours, but how do you sort of, stand out above it all?
Well, first of all, it's an excellent question. And it was like, one of the things that I am committed as a coach, as someone that encourages, as someone that helps people really unearth their potential, I
Mm-hmm.
have to pour into me,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And
yes.
so I have really, even though I've like kind of been around in the streets, I really haven't focused. I
Right.
didn't really start focusing until last year. And so
Oh,
one of the
yes.
things that I did is I began to pour into me. I
Right.
began to get the education. I
Right.
began to seek out coaches. I begin to get the information so that I can up my value. So
Mm,
then when I have someone that works with me, I'm a toot my own horn. I believe that I am very skilled. I
yes,
am
you are.
very intentional, and thank
Mm,
you for that word.
yes.
I have insight and wisdom. Why? Because I'm constantly reading. I'm
Mm,
constantly educating myself. I'm
that's right.
constantly getting better so that I can pour myself into
Right.
my clients. I hope
That's
that
right.
answered your question.
It does, because that is important for you to take that time to sharpen your iron, by
Absolutely.
reading, by, like you
Yeah.
said, getting a mentor and all these things. So that way, because what you do is, when you're helping a client, you're giving a piece of your energy, sometimes a large piece, depending on how, in depth that client is, because I'm a coach as well. So it's like you have to have those moments where you are giving into yourself so you'll be able to give more to the people that you are
Absolutely.
serving. Now, on the flip side of it all, no shade to anyone else out there, other programs is just basically self-taught. You go to the link, you watch some videos. Some of the videos may be outdated. Maybe the person did it, that uploaded that 6 years ago. But the things that worked, even a year ago, right, when it comes to your particular, gift and industry, may
Mhm.
not work today. So the fact that you mentioned that you keep sharpening your iron over and over again just makes you on top of the game and able to service the people that you're meant to service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things is we have to we have to know when to pivot, right?
Oh,
We have
yes.
to know
Yes.
when to shift, because I
Yeah.
mean, in this market, there's new technology, every other right
Systems,
tomorrow in a
everything.
few
Yeah.
minutes there's going to be a new technology out, right? And
Yes.
so you got to stay fresh. You got
Yeah.
to really know what's out there to really best serve your client.
That's true, because sometimes, your clients will see something out there and
Yeah.
say, yeah, I went down this road, I did this
Yeah.
venture. And
Yeah.
and when you're already doing the research and you're seeing with the things that they're seeing, you're able to respond the correct way. I had a
Absolutely.
client that was a little bit concerned because something came out about her industry, and I've already
Mhm.
knew exactly what she was talking about
Right.
and already knew exactly what to tell her. And so
Yes.
then, for your clients, particularly, they have a sense of comfort,
Mhm.
and that's a big thing. My next question for you is, and this is something that's big and something that most women, in our circle struggle with, which is fear and procrastination. Me personally, a mother of five, people may say, "Oh, I make this look so easy," but I struggle with my fears and my procrastination. But I'm still walking in while I'm feeling fearful or feeling like, oh, I feel like doing this. I'm still taking action. But there's a large group of women out there who's watching, and there's nothing wrong with it, that still stay stuck and they stay in that fear and procrastination. So, what are some things that you feel that's keeping women in fear and procrastination
You
nowadays?
know, I can only teach, right, what I've experienced and gone through, right? And so one of the key in all of my research and even looking at my own life, one of the things that I see that stops women, that stops people, is your mindset, right? Is your mindset, and so you have, and I love, there is a psychologist that talks about, she gives this amazing definition that really resonated with me on what a mindset is. And so a mindset is an attitude or a cluster of thoughts with attached information and emotions that generate a particular perception. And many of us have this attack, we have these experiences that we've gone through, right? Some of these experiences that were not pleasant, that were bad, and what they do is they almost paralyze us, right? And so we're holding on and we're rehearsing these stories, we're rehearsing these failures in our minds. We have these thoughts that are like, I tried this and it didn't work. And so what happens is we get stuck. And so one of the things that, and I think this, no matter, you can be a very established, person in your field, and maybe you need to pivot, just as I said, maybe you need to go to another level, but you're stuck in a certain mindset. You've got this attached information that you won't let go of, and because of that, it keeps you stuck. And so then fear comes in and procrastination, and you don't move.
You said the fear, the procrastination comes in, you stay stuck,
Yeah.
you don't move, and pushing forward is harder for most people than others, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so excited, for your presentation that's about to come soon, very, very soon. You guys definitely make a look out for that. Check your emails when her presentation is live. Can you just explain to the audience a little bit of what your presentation is going to be about and why people need to tune into it?
Right. And so my focus is really all about fear, right?
Mhm.
In how to overcome fear.
Right,
And just as I alluded to, fear is really driven by your mindset,
right,
right?
right,
Fear is this distressing emotion that's aroused by, impending danger and pain and or threat, whether it's
right.
real or imagined. So
Oh,
what does that
yes.
say? That says you're using your mind. You're creating these pictures. You're creating this story. And so what I will be doing in my presentation is we're going to talk about why you need to shift your mindset. Many of you want to move forward. You're called to be an entrepreneur. You're called to do all these great things, but you have not moved. And many times it's because you're stuck in your mindset. And so I'm going to begin to talk about why you need to shift your mindset so that you can really begin to manifest what it is that you desire. I hope that
Yes.
makes
It
sense.
makes total sense because it totally is about the shift. And I'm definitely going to be tuning in for that presentation because one of the things you guys got to understand, a lot of what Tonya does is we all need that refresher sometimes. Sometimes we walk in life and we may think that we have everything put together, everything's fine. There hasn't been no major crisis that has gone on, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's good to have these conversations or look at presentations like the one the one that Tonya is about to present, just to prepare yourself for anything in life that's about to
Yes,
come. Because the Bible does say it's always going to be trials in life, there's always going to be ups and downs. But when you're better prepared for it, right, you're able to outlast it. So, like I
absolutely.
said, Tonya, I'm so happy that you're part of this summit. And I know everyone who watches this interview is going to tune into your presentation is going to get a ton of value, right? So thank you guys so much for tuning into this interview. There's going to be many, many more. But let us know what was your one takeaway from this conversation. And I really look forward to seeing you along with me checking out Tonya's presentation. Till next time, guys, let's dominate.